Hello, everyone. Welcome to our third and final day of Tapestry of Contradiction. Welcome, Kara. You're here live right now. Welcome, everyone that is on the replay. I am honestly just so grateful for everyone that has been dropping into the replays and being here live with me as well. And I hope you've really enjoyed this transmission and that you've received everything that I have given. And I talked about this in day one, that really allowing yourself to receive it in your body and not necessarily needing to think through anything I say or force yourself to understand anything or put pieces together. Really let your body receive it and trust that anything you need to contemplate on or think about further will rise into your awareness. So today is going to be like a short and sweet transmission compared to the last few days, which I had like so much to say in. And before I get into it, I just want to mention for the giveaways, so to enter the giveaways is you have one entry just by registering, and you get another entry if you shared the initial graphic you would have received in the first email. And then the graphic I emailed out over the last couple of days, or you can just like take a picture as well to share your favorite moments, your insights, any quotable moments. For every one of those you share and tag me in your stories, you'll get an extra entry into the giveaways. So I'm going to give, initially I was going to announce the winners in this session, but I thought, no, I'll give you like 2 hours in case there's anything from this session that you would really love to share. So 2 hours after the end of this, I will announce the winners for the giveaway. So you have until then to share any of your favorite moments in your stories. And I would really, really love to hear like your insights and your favorite moments. And if you don't want to share it to your story, I would still even love to receive it in a private message. So definitely let me know. So yeah, 2 hours after this, you can still, up to 2 hours after this, you still have time to enter the giveaways. And for my program depth and devotion that I've been talking about throughout this series, throughout this free transmission, I'm also going to give 2 hours. So like by the time I draw the giveaways, to reach out to me if you want to claim your place in the pre-launch investment. So I'll talk a little bit more about it at the end, and I'll open some space if anyone has questions, but just know you'll have 2 hours to kind of sit with it and play with it if you really want to claim your space. And in this pre-launch period is like a big saving on the investment of the program, and then the bonuses for the intimacy upgrade. I'll talk about them at the end as well. Okay, so let's get into what I really want to share with you today. And it's around honoring yourself and your life as a work in progress and as a masterpiece at the same time. You can be both, and you are both. You are both healing and healed at the same time. You are ascending and descending at the same time. And you can hold a vision for more and be grateful for what you have at the same time. You can trust in divine timing and take action. You can go with the flow and have structured plans. You can use your intuition and your intelligence to make decisions, and you can trust that you are protected and innately guided and make informed decisions and do whatever you need to be informed. All of these things can coexist and exist at once, even though at a surface level they may seem like they contradict each other in some way. And when we stay at the surface level, like I talked about this in day one, when we stay at the surface level, that's where the contradictions exist. And that's where confusion can take place if we only stay at the surface and don't explore the depth under these seemingly contradictory statements. When we explore our goals, our desires, our vision for the future or for our life in this moment, and our alignment, gratitude, and presence, all of these things can play with each other and be interwoven with each other in a really beautiful way that supports each other, as opposed to fighting against each other. And there is this contradiction and this paradox between saying that we trust in divine timing and the flow of the universe, and feeling frustrated that it hasn't happened yet. And both of those things again can coexist. But if we put too much focus in like why why does part of me trust and part of me feels frustrated and doubts if it's going to happen? When we put our focus there, that is what splits our focus and like splits our energy, because we're wrapping these stories around these things that can coexist perfectly if we allow them to. And it only splits our energy and focus when we resist that a contradiction can exist, and mentally we're fighting for one to be true, because our mind can't rest in things that aren't like one truth. The mind wants to attach to one truth, and our body and in our deeper awareness, we can accept that there can be many truths, and we can play with multiple truths even at the same time. And when we look at gratitude, like gratitude is a really foundational teaching of many spiritual teachers, even many like personal development leaders and like, experts. You'll probably note, I've noticed throughout these 3 days, I've used like air marks a lot of the time. And because like a lot of words, I think like I don't need to take a direct meaning, like it's like experts, I say that like with caution. So, but among like so many like teachers and leaders and people in this space, there is a general consensus on the importance of gratitude, but not everyone explores and teaches gratitude in the same way from my perspective and from what I've seen and experienced. And what I believe is that like what brings depth to someone's gratitude teachings is their own practices and their capacity to feel grateful, as opposed to just like listing things that you're grateful for or saying things that you're grateful for. Like it's in the feeling and it's in the embodiment of being grateful for this moment is where I think the depth of a gratitude practice comes from. And something that is often, like this is a quote that you'll hear often about gratitude, is what we appreciates. So what we want more of, we have to be grateful for first. And then there's this kind of paradox that in order to get what we want, we have to be detached from wanting the things that we want to the point that we're okay with not having it. And when we're no longer attached to having it, then we will get it. And that can, like at a surface level, that can just sound like this crazy paradox that it's like, I want something, but to have it, I have to not care about wanting it. And that can seem very, very like crazy to the logical mind. And this is where our desires and our deep longings can become so entangled with all these mental stories, because the mind is trying to work out why we don't have it yet and why it seems like I can't have this thing that I want. And the mind clings to those stories. And like if we think about the tapestry that I've been talking about, like these stories, like this desire is a thread, and these stories that are in your mind are like entangling themselves with that thread of desire, but they actually don't belong together. And but our mind is putting these pieces together that it thinks it needs to make logical sense of a situation. And often it's the things that we care about the most that is on our mind the most. So they are in our thoughts the most, and therefore they are the most susceptible to resistance. The areas of our life that are most susceptible to resistance are the things that we think about the most. And the things we think about the most are often the things that we care about the most. So it creates this paradox as well, that it's like, can we think less about the things that we really care about and the things that we really want? And there are many things in your life, like if you just reflect on the things in your life, like in your inner world and in your outer material world as well, there are many things that you have in your life that you want to keep having in your life. And there are so many things that are just a given, that it's like they're just there and you like that they're there. They're part of the life that you want, but you don't think about these things in your day-to-day or in your daydreaming, because they're just there, like it's a given. And you have no resistance to these things because you never give your mind a chance to create resistance, because you don't think about these things, like they're just there. And there can be moments where something becomes disrupted and suddenly you realize you were taking something for granted. And I don't think it's a bad thing. It's not inherently a bad thing to take things for granted. It's that you just accept that that is a solid part of your reality. And of course, those things can be taken away at any moment, but your mind doesn't have the opportunity to create stories around that, because it's just a part of that. And you like, there may be like personal qualities about yourself that you think like you don't even think about, you just accept and know that that is a part of you. Like the fact that you have a house to live in or a car, for some people that could be something that's on their mind constantly every day. For others it's like it's just a given, like of course I'll always have a house to live in, or of course my family members will always love me. But like it's so different for everyone. Like what we think is just a, like of course it will always be there, for other people it may be something that they're always thinking about because they're scared of losing it, or because they don't have stability, or because they haven't experienced that at all. And when it comes to the vision that we hold for our life, like our kind of like our big picture dream, and our dream of the impact that we want to make, the business that we want to build, the relationships that we want to experience, all of our desires, like usually our desires can be kind of broken down into the categories of like health, relationships, money, and like work and service. And sometimes they can be like intertwined and connected with each other as well. And it's usually like some of those categories are probably like everything's set, like I don't even need to think about it because it's just what it is, and it's perfect as it is. And then there's probably kind of one, at least one of those areas that you likely struggle with the most, and it's likely in this moment of time the thing that you care about shifting or experiencing something different in the most. And it's probably like it's the thing you will think about the most. And there is gold within the struggle of that. Like there is so much gold to be mined out of your depth within this struggle that you're experiencing, because it's so connected to something that you deeply care about. And this is one of the core teachings of the Gene Keys, that within every shadow there is a gift. I think I've said this a couple of times over the last 2 days. In every shadow there is a gift. And our shadows, like we have shadows that have been embedded within our DNA from the moment we were born. Like we came into the earth with these shadows from our ancestral line, from the like collective cosmos energy as well. Like we have these shadows embedded holographically within our DNA. And these shadows are what create core challenges in our life that we need to face in order to liberate more of our life force and live in our gift frequency. And it is in our gift frequency that we are aligned with nature, and we're aligned with the natural flow of life. And when we are in sync with nature, synchronicities that we could never ever plan become such commonplace. And I have this really like beautiful example of a friend of mine. This was a few years ago now. She's such like just like a beautiful light, like the most kind-hearted soul you would ever meet. And she went through this really challenging period in her life. And I won't go into the specifics, but it was a really challenging period. It was kind of like a real dark period for her. And she faced all of that with so much grace. And when she came out of the other side, she was like even more in her radiance than she had ever been before. And she was at the end of all those things that she went to, she was also almost like starting over in a lot of ways. Like she didn't have a lot of possessions because of what had happened. And she needed a car. That was kind of like one of her short-term things. Like she needed a car to get around. And she was at just the supermarket, and this random man that she had never met before, had no connection with in any way except for they lived in the same town. This random man approached her and wanted to give her his car. And like there is more to the story, because like if someone approached you in the supermarket and would be like, here, have my car, you would probably think like, is this serious? Like, is this too good to be true? There is more to the story. The details don't really matter, but it was completely out of nowhere, perfectly aligned. And she got like this $5,000 car for free, which had everything that she needed in that moment. So when you're in sync with nature, you will meet the right people at the exact right time. You'll be in the right place. You'll be in an easeful flow with the cosmic story. And that doesn't mean you won't face new challenges. It doesn't mean that you're not like making decisions for yourself and moving yourself forward. But when you're in sync with nature, it's like you're in the flow of life, and you're not forcing anything or fighting against anything. And this is what happens when we really awaken the gifts that are within us. But we need to be willing to face our shadows and our fears and our thoughts that are creating resistance in that process to really awaken ourselves in that gift frequency. So like the thing is that gratitude is really easy when everything's working out, when everything's perfect. Can you be grateful for your challenges right now, because they are your opportunity to rise and descend into your gifts? Can you honor that you have put everything in motion? You have already done your part, and you don't need to worry how everything else will unfold. And can you let this very moment be a work of art exactly as it is, even though of course there is so much more you could do and so much more you will experience? Can this moment be an experience of art in and of itself? And can you allow what you have done today or in this moment to be enough? Of course you could do more. There's always more you could do, but can you allow yourself and what you have done to be enough in this moment? And in the Gene Keys, it outlines the gift of our purpose in life. And a teaching in the Gene Keys is that our purpose is about the energy of who we are being. In the Gene Keys, there's the life's work, which is about like the gift of what we are meant to do in the world, like the action we're meant to take externally. But then our purpose sphere teaches us the energy of who we are meant to be. And our purpose puts no pressure on us to attain or to achieve. Our purpose is to exist as a part of nature, to be in sync with nature. So our purpose really is to be ourselves. And in this, in the energy of like striving and attaining and achieving that is like almost pushed and conditioned on us in the world, we inevitably lose parts of ourselves to the striving and to that journey. And if you listen to like day 2, you can probably pick up a lot of pieces in that within my story that I went through of how like I wasn't being myself for a long period of time in that like striving, external focused life that I was living. So we can hold a vision for ourselves, our dream, and we can be excited to reach new milestones. I've really shifted in the way that I talk about like goals. Like I prefer to think of it as like it's exciting to reach new milestones, but it's not that we need to attach to any outcome by any specific time. And we can live in these desires in this moment, and we can honor the desires that we have in this very moment and not project them into the future as something we'll always have in the future that's always one step away from us. And we can choose to make art with whatever is in front of us right now and whatever is available to us in that moment, and we can allow that to be enough. And when we are present in this moment, we can be present in this moment and proactive for our desired future at the same time. And we don't need to think through this and apply unnecessary pressure to ourselves. And before I finish, I really want to talk about fear, because fear is a really big piece of this when it comes to dreaming of the life that we want to live. Your desires and your fear are from the same seed. Your fears, like within your fears, there is gold, gifts, and magic. And if you follow me, you've probably heard me say 1,000 times, like your desires are sacred. And if your desires and fears are from the same seed, that must mean your fears are therefore sacred too. And so within your fears, there is so much like gold, magic, and your gifts. And what your fears do is lead you on a journey to your shadows. Your fears are like an invitation to go inwards, and they illuminate the path. Like if you let yourself go inwards, they illuminate the path and the journey to find your shadows. And these are the shadows that are encoded within your DNA. And the shadows that are encoded within your DNA are responsible for the patterns and habits that result in your suffering in your human life. And at the depth of your fear, you will get to the core of the shadow. And sometimes this can be really confronting. It can be a really confronting truth that you arrive at within yourself. And that's why that often, like, the core of the truth within your depths is hidden under these layers of surface level fears, because the surface level fears are really easy to think through or to use it as an excuse to avoid really going inwards. Your fears arise through your challenges, and challenges arise when you are on the path to your desires. And we can see this as such a sacred journey, that, like, you wouldn't be having fear and you wouldn't be facing challenges if you weren't on the path to the things that you desired. So these challenges will arise to expand you, to open you, as an invitation for you to rise to the occasion, so that you have the capacity to hold these things that you desire in your life. And as a visual, like, I see, like as a visual, I like to see that the fears are the things that are lighting the path to the shadows. And when you arrive at the shadow, it can seem like this big scary thing, like the dragon that guards the princess or the treasures in the castle, or like the three-headed dog. Like, the visual that comes is like in I think it's like the first Harry Potter movie, where I think it's like this three-legged dog and it's like guarding something. I'm not a huge like Harry Potter fan, but I like saw the movies as a kid, and that kind of visual came into my mind. So behind this big like thing that seems like it's this big monster is a treasure. Like, they are guarding the treasure, and within the treasure is your innate gifts that are just waiting to be awakened within your DNA. And the only reason that the dragon or the guard dog, however you want to visualize it, seems so scary is because, like, they have been caged up, like they have been on a leash, programmed to believe that their sole duty is to protect the treasure behind them that holds your gifts. So when you can recognize that, you can then approach this shadow, this dragon or guard dog, with gentleness, with patience, and with trust that it actually is this really beautiful divine part of you that thinks it needs to act in this big scary way in order to protect you. And when you can see it and trust it, you can begin to soften the space around it, and it can begin to open, and you start to see what is within the shadow and what is like the treasure that the shadow has been guarding. And sometimes it can feel like you have to slay the dragon, and sometimes you just need to let the dragon feel safe and let it off its chain, and then the dragon becomes serving to you instead of fighting against you. And the kind of the visual that comes to me for that is like the movie Shrek. So like the dragon is like guarding Princess Fiona, and you know, when Shrek and Donkey arrive, like the dragon's obviously fighting them, but then the dragon is showed kindness by Donkey, and they fall in love, and then the dragon becomes a fierce protector of Donkey and actually like serves them and helps them in their journey and in the rest of their quest. So these dragons and these like monsters, you know, they're only acting in that way because, you know, they've been ignored, they've been chained up, and they've been made to believe that they need to protect whatever the treasure they are protecting. But we can approach them in such a different way and develop this new dynamic in this new relationship where they're actually very serving to us, and we get to experience the gift that they've been guarding as well. And just like one more visual, like you can probably tell, like, I watch a lot of movies. So this other visual that comes to mind is from a Disney movie, Moana. It's a really great movie. I recommend that you watch it. It's like a kids movie, but I really enjoyed it. And like the monster of the movie, like I won't get into the backstory, but like the monster of the movie, once she was shown compassion and understanding by like the heroine of the movie, she softened and was able to rest in her true form. And like Moana was able to see like how that monster had been wronged, and like the love that she needed to feel seen and understood, to take her true form, to go back into her true form. So facing your fears and taking this journey through your inner world is what allows you to embody your gifts in life, and the embodiment of your gifts is what allows you to be in sync with nature, in flow with cosmic energy. And you can never get lost in your inner world. It is a deep, dark void, and all paths will be illuminated when you are ready, and you get to choose when you are ready. And you can never get lost, because all roads lead home. All roads, all paths that become illuminated lead to this beautiful part that is a part of yourself. And this journey can unfold in many ways. There can be many things that kind of send you on this deep inner journey. And I love using the gene keys as a map for this journey, because it takes out some of the guessing work. Like, it clearly lays out that it's like, these are the shadows, these are the gifts, and you get to choose how you relate and how you resonate with them. But it gives you a map. Your gene keys profile gives you your personal map of the shadows embedded holographically within your DNA, and the gifts that are within them, the treasure that you will find within facing them. And the core journey of the gene keys is one that unlocks and awakens the gifts that you were here to do, like your radiance of your auric field and your life force and your purpose. And through that journey, you will break through your core challenges and ground in stability. And that stability gives you a physical grounding to journey even deeper to your core emotional wounds. And then this opens up a path to your highest service and highest prosperity field in the world. And inside Depth and Devotion, my program, there will be elements of the gene keys interwoven in the teachings, and there will be some of these core components that I've mentioned will be focused on. It's not a gene keys program. Like, I'm not going to take you through your profile like step by step. It's more, there will be teachings and musings and transmissions interwoven within some of the things I'm teaching. And you can see, if you look on the website, and like the list of topics you have, you'll see like some core components of the gene keys that I will be bringing up. But in the intimacy upgrade for Depth and Devotion, you will get a full profile session with me, and we can go really deeply into your personal shadows, your personal gifts, with guidance on how to face those challenges that are unique to you to awaken your gifts and genius. So the last thing I want to share is that your spirit is hungry for your creative energy. Like, your spirit needs to feed on your creative energy in order for you to feel fully alive and fulfilled in your life. And the more you awaken your gifts, the more turned on you feel, the more present you are, the more your spirit is fed. And when you don't feed your spirit with this creative energy, with your life force energy, the hunger will always be there, and your body will try to feed that hunger with other things. And it may be binge eating, it may be other addictions, like consuming something to just try to satiate that hunger, but it will never really feel satisfying. And you can imagine, like, if your human body was hungry and all you did was drink water to try to feed that hunger, like, yeah, like that water may feel really good to drink at times, but it will never really feel fully fulfilling. And you'll get to a point where you just become more and more depleted, but you'll still be hungry. Even like, it doesn't matter how much water you drink, you'll still be hungry. So feed your spirit with what it is hungry for, your creative energy. And the more creative energy you connect with, the more you generate, and the more you can express and harness and use in the world as well. And this is like a deep part of the path within Depth and Devotion. We will begin with a deep inner journey that I've talked about within the last few days, and then we'll move into your expression of your creative energy. And this is a big part that feeds your spirit. And then we go into this like more divine sacred path, part of the path, and we focus on your devotion and your prosperity, and being really aligned with your spirit, your service, and the art of your life. So thank you so much for being here for these last 3 days. I have really loved everything that I have got to share. I love the conversations this has opened up, and I just want to thank you so much for being here. So to end, there's just a couple of things I want to say, and if anyone has any questions, you can, if you're here, for the ladies that are here live, you can put it in the chat, or I'll give you a chance in a moment to turn your mic on and speak. But I just want to say, as a reminder for the giveaways, so 2 more hours, probably like 2.5 hours around 2 o'clock, I'm going to post the winners of the giveaway. So there are 3 30-minute one-on-one sessions, and there are 3 1-month memberships to Space to Create. I'm super excited for everyone that gets to win those prizes. So I would love for you to share in your story some insights you've gained, your favorite moments, just anything that you would really love to say about this experience, and that will get you an entry into the giveaway. And if you would like to join Depth and Devotion, you have a couple of hours as well to reach out to me to take advantage of the pre-launch investment at the moment. So at the moment, Depth and Devotion is $478 pay in full, and there are a 3-month and a 6-month payment plan. The full price will be $888, so a big saving for you to join in this pre-launch. And if you want to join the intimacy upgrade, during the intimacy upgrade, you get 3 one-on-one calls with me, plus a one-on-one Gene Keys profile session and deep dive with me. Plus you get 1 week unlimited Voxer support at the end of the program. And the special for everyone that has been here through Tapestry of Contradiction is that in your intimacy upgrade, you will get a private Voxer chat with me for the entire program, plus that 1 week after. So we can go, like having a private Voxer chat with me just gives you access to voice message and text message me every day if you want to, and to have that like personal intimacy and connection. So that's in the intimacy upgrade. So the investment at the moment is $1,333. All the prices, by the way, are in Australian dollars. And there is a 3-month and a 6-month payment plan for the intimacy upgrade as well. And I also want to say that if you know that you're in, but you, for whatever reason at all, can't make the payment for say like another couple of days or a week or so, reach out to me today and I will honor like the pre-launch investment price for you. But you need to reach out to me before I post it publicly, which will be in about 2 hours. So thank you so much for being here. The link for Depth and Devotion will be in your emails, and you can see like everything's kind of listed out. There's topics listed, all what's included is listed. It's going to be such a beautiful and amazing experience. And I would really love to invite you into this. And in the live round, this is like, it's likely to be the only time I run the program live the way that I'm going to over these 9 weeks. And it's just going to be such a beautiful like inner journey, and then an expression from your inner journey and from your radiance and aligning with your devotion and prosperity. So it's going to be so amazing. So thank you so much for being here. Have an amazing day. And just thank you so much for your presence.